everybody, this is Heather Sides. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up, and I am coming out of Spokane, Washington. I like to do these videos once a week. I bring you usually 3 card ideas, things that I've come up with, show you how I make them. And then afterward, I also upload this video to YouTube, so you can watch the replay later or invite friends to do the same. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. Be sure to introduce yourself. I love to know who's visiting us. Give me just a second here while I get everything going on the computer screen. I want to make sure that I'm able to see your comments, and then we'll talk a little bit about comments and that kind of thing. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping information, and then we'll get going on our cards. So give me just a moment. Okay, looks like my computer is actually cooperating, so yay. Okay, and it looks like Marcy has joined us. Welcome, Marcy. It's good to see you tonight. You know, I got a new phone a couple weeks ago, and this one, well, maybe the old one could do this and I never figured it out, but this one I can turn the light on while I'm filming, so it gives a little bit of extra light, which is really nice. Except the problem is, then I go to look at my computer screen and I can't see it because I've had the light in my eyes. And so it's like I go to read the comments and they're fuzzy because of the light. So it just makes me laugh. It'll take some getting used to. Looks like we've had a couple other people joined us. It looks like Kathy has joined us and Robin has joined us. Welcome, you guys. It's good to see you. Let's see, while we're waiting for people to get here, let me see if I've got anything fun to tell you that's going on. It was a pretty uneventful weekend at my house. And a pretty uneventful week before that, and a pretty uneventful week so far this week, and I'm not complaining. I will take uneventful and nice and quiet and calm anytime. So many of you know that I've been watching all the old episodes of Love Boat. You'll be glad to know I have finally completed all 10 episodes, or all 10 seasons of the Love Boat. So, you know, if that's something that was keeping you up at night, worried about whether or not I would get through them all, I have gotten through all of them now. So now I'm on the lookout for something else to binge for a while, and I don't know what to watch. So let me know if you have any good ideas. Keep in mind, I usually have whatever I'm watching playing sort of in the background while I'm working. So it can't be something that I have to really pay close attention to. Like, I really want to watch that show, Inventing Anna. I've heard great things about it, but I've also heard it's one that you really have to pay attention to as you watch it. So I haven't tried to tackle that one yet, just because, like I said, I'm playing it while I work and things like that. So I'm only kind of halfway watching, which is why I go for things like Love Boat and shows like that, because, I mean, you can miss half the episode and still know what's going on. So, anyway, let's see. I'm seeing some comments here. Let's see. Oh, Golden Girls. Oh, that's a good one to go back. I haven't watched that in a long time. Have you ever watched, Marcy suggested Golden Girls. Have you ever watched Hot in Cleveland? It reminds me a lot of the Golden Girls. In fact, Betty White was in it. But it's kind of the same vibe, only updated by about, 30 years. So if you haven't watched it, that's kind of a fun one to watch. Oh, Robin, my assistant, he's getting so big. When my husband goes for his run, he opens my office door so that the dog can come and go as he pleases. And when he comes in, I will get him up here on my lap so you can see he's getting so big. And the funny thing is, he's skinny. Like, he's not filled out, and I'm used to fat puppies. But he's not filled out, and he has these super long, gangly legs, and he trips over them all the time, and it's just hysterical to watch. But he's getting big. So let's see, what other comments do we have here? Like I said, I'm having a hard time reading comments because I look up at my camera and I've got that light in my eyes, and, the drama of, being an international celebrity, right? I had somebody watch one of my videos last week, I think it was, from the UK, which was kind of exciting for me. My first person that I knew of that was watching from another country. So that was kind of exciting. So I keep telling my husband that I am an international sensation now. And I'm sure he's tired of hearing it, but I'm not tired of telling him that, so I'm just going to keep telling him. Okay, well, let's get this camera turned around and we'll do our weekly drawing and we will do some housekeeping. So let's go ahead and get going. Give me just a moment. Okay. Now we've got the camera in place. You know, this goes so much smoother than it did when I first started doing this. Remember the days when I never knew if I was going to be upside down or right side up or sideways or crooked, and it's kind of nice. Hey Kathy, welcome. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is talk about our weekly drawing. For those of you who are new, this is something I do every week. I guess that would explain why it's called a weekly drawing, right? All you have to do to be entered in the drawing is to participate in the conversation somehow. Hey, Shelly, welcome. If you are kind of shy and you don't want to participate in a lot of the conversation, just drop me a quick note. Say, hey, I'm here from Cleveland, you know, something like that. Just tell me where you're from. Introduce yourself. But I do encourage you to participate in the conversation because it's just kind of fun. Sometimes you guys get talking with one another. You talk with me, you ask questions, you tell me things. And it's just, for me, that's a lot of fun. So I encourage you to participate in that way. But even if you're watching the replay, whether that's here on Facebook or on YouTube where I upload the video later, make sure you leave a comment, say hello, because your name will still go in the drawing, whether you're watching a replay or watching live. And then I do the drawing usually a couple hours before we go live the following week and let you know who won that week's drawing. So for last week's video, this week's prize is the Corner Bouquet stamp set. This was a celebration gift a few celebrations ago, and this week's winner is Marcy Rogers. So congratulations, Marcy. I just need you to send me a message with your address because I don't know where to mail this, and I know you are in the process of moving right now. So if you want me to wait until you're moved and settled, I can do that too. So just let me know what works for you. And I will get it sent out to you at your convenience. Couple things I want to talk about. First, let's talk about Paper Pumpkin. So I got my kit for this month's Paper Pumpkin, which means that Wednesday, let me start over. Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, I will be doing my monthly Paper Pumpkin alternate ideas video. So you'll want to watch for that. It'll be here on my Facebook page at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And then afterwards, of course, I'll upload it to YouTube as well. This one's going to be a challenge for me. It's not necessarily my style, I think. And so I'm going to have to really kick my creative juices into gear to come up with some wonderful stuff for you, but I still plan to do so. Anyway, so I'm kind of excited to see what I come up with, and I hope you are too. So join me Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Heads up, next month's Paper Pumpkin kit, which is available for ordering now. You can order it through the 10th of July. I can't believe I'm saying July already. And it's called Sending Good Thoughts, and it looks like it's going to have something to do with the ocean and letters in a bottle. They don't tell us a whole lot about it. They just give us little clues. And so this is what we're going on this month. So if you have not subscribed to Paper Pumpkin before, you can sign up for 1 month just to try it out, see what you think, or you can sign up for a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. And of course, as with most things, the more months you sign up for, the longer duration of time, the cheaper it is in the long run per kit. So if you are interested in finding out more about Paper Pumpkin, you can go to my website, heathersides.stampinup.net, and you can find out more about it there. Welcome, Nell. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so that's giving you a little bit of info here about Paper Pumpkin. Next, we have Celebration coming up, and this is going to go into effect on July 1st. It's going to be July through August. I can't open it up and show you what's inside yet, but there are several free gifts that you can earn from Stampin' Up. There's packs of paper, there's stamps, there's dies, there's all sorts of fun goodies in here, and all you have to do is make a $50 purchase. You can pick one of these gifts for every $50 you spend. A couple of the gifts you have to spend $100, but you can get an unlimited number of the gifts based on the total amount that you spend. And I've said it before, there's no judgment here. And you can do that again at my website, heathersides.stampinup.net, beginning July 1st. Also beginning July 1st is our mini catalog, or July through December. Again, I can't open it up and show you what's inside until it launches on July 1st, but there's some pretty amazing stuff in here, including several new holiday sets. You know, there's a couple of holiday sets in our annual catalog, but there's several new ones and papers, and there's some fall stuff, some Halloween stuff, lots of fun things to play with in this catalog. Ooh, I almost opened it up. That would have been bad. I could have gotten in trouble. So anyway, just know that's coming up July 1st. And if you need one of these catalogs and you don't have a demonstrator that you're currently working with, I'd love to earn your business and send one to you. So just send me either an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com, or you can send me a message here on Facebook and let me know you'd like a catalog and give me your address, and I'll pop that in the mail to you. We, of course, have our annual catalog that came out May 1st. Lots of fun goodies in here. I have a huge, long wish list of things that I want to get out of it. But if you haven't gotten yours yet and you want one, again, let me know. Email me or send me a message here on Facebook, and I'd be happy to send one out to you. So that's all of our housekeeping we've got. Let's get going on making some cards. Okay, so the first card I have for you tonight uses the Glad We're Friends stamp set. Hey, Paula, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so I've used this set before, and I think I've told you that when I saw that this set had a guinea pig and a corgi, I had to buy it because my son has guinea pigs and my parents have a corgi. And so, you know, it was a given. There was no decision to be made. I had to have this. So I've been having fun playing with it. I made a card for my dad for Father's Day with it. In fact, I liked it so much that I made another one so that I had a sample for you guys, because we're going to make it again tonight. So here's the card we're going to make, and it's a little bit of a fun fold. And this part is under there. Ta-da! Nice and simple. And this piece just kind of goes under this little tab right here, and that's what holds it closed. So we're going to make this card. We're going to use the watercolor pencils, and I'm going to show you a new trick I learned with my watercolor pencils. Yes, Kathy, this set is so cute, and it's just fun. It's just, you know, I don't know. I like the fun stamps. Stampin' Up! Has a lot of really pretty floral sets, but I tend to go for the cute ones, I think, more than anything. Okay, so we're going to get started with our envelope. And just put a little bit of glue here around the edge of the envelope. You know, if you have not used the Stampin' Up! Envelopes before, I really recommend them. They are actually a pretty good price. You get, I want to say like 40 of them for like $6 or something. It's a pretty good price. And they're a nice, good quality paper to your envelope. They're nice and smooth, so they're easy to stamp on as well. So if you haven't purchased them before, I do recommend get them and give them a try, because once I started using them, I never went back to, I used to just buy cheap envelopes on Amazon, and now I exclusively use the Stampin' Up! Ones because I really do like them. Okay, so I did put a little too much glue on here, so now my paper is just wiggling all over the place. So let's get this lined up where I want it. That is one nice thing about the liquid glue, is you can kind of wiggle your paper around to get it where you want it. But if you put too much glue on there, you end up wiggling it a little more than you intended. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim off the extra here. For these envelopes, the strip of designer series paper that I put on my flap is just 2.5 by 6 inches, and it's a little bigger than what I need. You could save yourself a little paper by trimming that down a little bit, but I prefer to just keep it a little bit big like this because then I can do it a little more quickly. I'm not having to spend quite so much time making sure it's lined up perfectly. So it really is a matter of what you prefer. So there's our envelope. Sometimes I stamp on mine, sometimes I do designer series paper. It's really up to you, but I do like to have a fun designed envelope to go with my card. Okay, so this card, the card base is actually just 1/4 of a sheet of cardstock. In this case, I'm making this one out of Glorious Grape. And then I have a piece of basic white. And then I've got couple little strips here. So let's go ahead and glue these pieces together because then we can put that all aside and not worry about it getting lost. My door is opening, which makes me think my assistant will probably be in here shortly. Okay, let's see here. Okay. And again, I like to use the liquid glue for steps like this, because then if I need to wiggle the paper around to get it to line up properly, I can. All right. Oh, thank you for sharing this to the group, Marcy. I appreciate it. I always forget about it, and so I forget to ask somebody to do that. Okay. There we go. Now, my go-to adhesive for, gluing down the main pieces is my Seal Plus, and we've talked about that before, why I like it. But you can see I keep all the various, I have a little bin next to me that I keep all my various adhesives in because I use the different adhesives for different things. Oh, and you know what? I didn't want to glue that down yet. Here I was just yapping away and I forgot a really important step. So peeling this off slowly. This is easy to fix. Okay. Now what I need to do is I've got these purple pieces that what I did is I made my squares for the front of the card, the sizes that I want them, but then I cut just an extra 1/2 inch on one side, and then I didn't cut a 1/2 inch, I added a 1/2 inch, and then I scored it so that I can make this little flap like this. And then take a little bit of tear and tape. You could also use just regular adhesive for this too. I like the tear and tape just because it's quick and easy. And then peel that off. And now I want to line this up kind of in the center in between those two pieces of designer series paper. By the way, the designer series paper I'm using here is just the each of our color families has a set of designer series paper where the prints are all the same regardless of the colors, but it's available in all the different colors that we offer in our inks and cardstock. And so I'm using the Glorious Grape one here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is glue this piece down. And if you're like me and you have put your adhesive on your paper and you didn't mean to, but you don't want it to stick to your work surface, use your silicone mat and just set it there because the purpose of your silicone mat is that the adhesive won't stick to it. So now I'm just going to line this up on here like this. Ta-da! Now I have this smaller one that I did the same thing where I just made it a 1/2 inch longer than what I wanted on one edge, and then I scored that 1/2 inch. And find the edge of my tear and tape here. I've got a little purple fluff. Okay. The name of the paper is gosh, let me see what they call it. It's pretty basic. It's just the designer series paper. And it is, let me find it in the catalog. I'll show you where it's at. Right here, it's on page 135 of the catalog, and you can get it in the in colors, or you can get it in the regular color families, and it's just called Designer Series Paper Assortments, and you can get the brights, the neutrals, the regals, the subtles, or either of the in color families. And they come in 6x6 sheets, and it's 4 different prints. You get 2 sheets of each print, and there's, well, each sheet has 2 prints on it, front and back. You can get 2 sheets of each one of those for a total of 4 prints. And I'm probably totally talking in circles now. Okay, where did my take your pick tool go? There it is. It was hiding in the bottom of my little bin. If you can hear that, you can tell that my assistant has joined me here in my office. He's playing with his warthog. Okay, so see, I'm lining this one up on the other side, just between these 2 pieces of the designer series paper. There we go. Now let's go ahead and put just a little bit more on here. And we're going to mount this onto our card base. There we go. And we'll set that aside for the moment. Got all these loose pieces everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to put this back in my little bag because I don't want to lose those pieces. Now we're going to do a little bit of stamping. I've got my little corgi here. I need my glorious grape and my black memento. Okay. Make sure I've got that inked up really well. I'm trying to make sure I have this lined up just right because the paper is just the right size. Oh, I missed part of his ear, so we'll flip it over and we'll do it again. There we go. Still a little light on that side, but we're going to color it anyway, so it'll be okay. Now, let's go ahead and stamp while we're doing our stamping. We'll stamp the inside message. It's, I'm blown away by you. And I'm going to stamp this with the glorious grape. Just right there in the center. There we go. Whoops. Now let's do our coloring here. I keep my watercolor pencils. We sell two different assortments. One is slightly larger than the other, and I just keep them all in one of these little plastic containers that we sell. It fits perfectly. I think if we got any more, I'd have to, any more watercolor pencils, I'd have to figure something else out because it wouldn't hold any more than that, but it does work well. So, okay, so we're gonna start with the little black on its body. This is actually the gray, the basic gray. It's a little lighter than what I like. So I'm just gonna kind of start with this. Then I'm going to take the black, go around the edge here, so we have a little bit of shading in here. Then let's do the ears. And I want to add a little bit of orange to my ears because I don't want them to be super duper bright pink. I'm going to do a little bit darker pink around the edges to give it just a little bit of shading. Color some orange in there, like I said. We may have to come back with the orange in a little bit again after we've kind of smoothed everything out, but that's okay. And then let's take some brown here. I do want a little Cajun craze because I wanted, when I colored this the first time, I wanted it to be colored kind of to match my parents' dog. And so she's got, her brown has a little bit of red to it. So I wanted to use her coloring. And you can see I'm not really being super precise about getting the edges here. And you don't have to be. I mean, you can be if you want, but it goes a lot quicker if you're not. Now I'm doing some dark around the edges here. Like that. Maybe put a little bit of black in there just to darken that up right in there. And then, oh, her tongue, or his tongue, or, you know, whatever you want your little doggy to be. There we go. And then, so that looks pretty good on the body. The other thing that I like to do is I'm going to take this gray here, and I'm just very lightly doing a little bit around the edges or where there's some shadows. And we're going to blend that in so it's not going to look, you're not going to really see a lot of gray. But what it does is it makes it so it's just not quite so stark white. And you'll see when we're done. And then I also create just a little bit of a shadow underneath my dog so it doesn't look like she's just floating in thin air there. While I'm doing this, I'll put a little bit under my fan as well. And I want to color my fan so that it matches my designer series paper. So let's see. I'm going to color this in. And now I'm going to, if I had a darker purple, I would use that here as well. But I don't, so I'm just coloring a little bit harder to get that darker shade. Color in these little strips here. And then the other thing I did is I just very lightly kind of colored in here over the grids of the fan, because what it does is it gives a little bit of an appearance of the blade moving. And again, you'll see that more when I blend everything. So got my coloring there, and I may come back and add some other color after we've blended. Here's the trick I want to show you about the blending. I have, up until now, always used one of my blender pens, which I'll show you what I'm talking about. These are the blender pens. They're clear. Hello, welcome, Marilyn. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So yes, Robin mentioned that my cards keep showing up with racks from other people. That's what I do with my cards. Rack, if you're not familiar, is Random Act of Kindness. Hey, Christy, welcome. I just noticed that you snuck in. But anyway, I use my cards that I've made throughout the month for our Random Act of Kindness group that I send them out to people when the month is over. So, okay, so blender pen, it's a clear pen that you can use to color over your watercolor pencils. Now you can use it with your inks. There's a lot of different ways you can use it, but it blends in the color. But I found another way that works really, really well. And in some ways, I almost think it even works better. So I'm excited to share it with you. This is our Stampin' Blend Color Lifter. It's clear like the Stampin' Blend. It works with our Stampin' Blend markers where maybe you make a color too strong, too dark, too vibrant, whatever. You can go over it with this and it lifts that color up a little bit. It doesn't completely get rid of the color, but it does saturate it a little bit so that it's a little bit lighter. And I saw a tip where somebody said to do it with your watercolor pencils. So I gave it a whirl and I was very, very tickled with how it turned out. So let's start with our little doggy's ears here. And right now I'm using the brush tip. And then before you switch colors, you do want to color on your scratch paper to get it off of the tip of your pen so that you're not carrying it over into the other colors. But see how it's just pulling that color really nicely? Yeah, I think I'm going to want to add a little bit more black to the brown here, but you get the idea. And then I get over here where I've got the black, and I kind of go over the two colors together, the brown and the black, and it'll make it so that there's a nice smooth blend when the color goes from black to brown. So it's not just a sudden black and then brown cutoff line, you know? I'm probably going to want to add a little bit more black there so it's not such a light gray. And we'll do that after we color, of course. Do you see this little bit where I got the brown on his white face? This is what the color lifter does. If you go over that, it just kind of pulls some of that color out of it. It's a little harder to get it in these small areas, but it does pull some of that color out, so it's a little bit lighter. It doesn't stand out quite so much. Now I'm going over that gray where I just want to soften those edges so that my puppy isn't... I still had a little bit of brown on my pen, and that pulled in, so that's why I'm coloring it all over everything now, just so that it kind of has a little bit of a blend to it. It looks kind of gray and dirty right now, and it will until it soaks into the paper a little bit better. So don't let that deter you if you start doing that and then you're like, oh no, I ruined it. Nope, it'll soak in a little, give it time. Now let's color the fan. And I'm right now doing those darker places. Get some of that extra color off my pen while I do the blade of the fan, because I don't want it to be so much color that it's solid. I just want it to have kind of the appearance of that movement. There we go. And I want to get that gray that I have underneath the fan where I've got a little bit of a shadow. There. Now let's go ahead and glue this piece down. Oh, you know, I did want to add a little more color there, and I can do that. I can still do that. So let's line this up. And I wanted to add a little bit more black to my little doggy body. And a little bit more black on the brown too, just to make it a little bit darker. Go over it with my pen again. And to be honest, you could sit here and play with it all night because they blend so nicely. You could just keep blending away all night long. I'm not going to do that to you. Or to myself, to tell you the truth. Let's see here. Okay, pulling in the color from the outer edge. So there we go. Now let's let it soak in, because it does take a minute or two to really soak into the paper. And I feel like you have a very different look once it's really soaked into the paper. So now the last step, well, let's put these away before I end up knocking them down and they go everywhere. Actually, what'll happen is Phineas will come up here to check things out, put his big old meaty paws on my desk and send them flying. Okay. Yeah, I would not have thought of using the color lifter either, you guys. And I can't even remember. It was another demonstrator. I can't remember who it was that I was watching, so I can't give the credit properly. But they suggested doing that. So I thought, oh, I'll give it a whirl and I'll see. And I like it even better than using the blender pens. So, okay. Got this little strip here. And I'm gonna put it down on here. Then I'm going to take a piece of my tear and tape. I'm using the tear and tape here because I want this little piece to be stuck on here really, really well, because it's going to get jostled and lifted every time someone tries to open this card or close it. So you want a nice strong adhesive on here, but you only want it on one half of the strip because you still want the strip to lift up some to put that other piece underneath it. So you can see I've just put it right there on the edge. Got my bone folder here to rub in my tear and tape, get that adhesive on there nice. And now what I'm going to do is hold this closed. And I'm just going to make sure you've got the sticky edge to the left so that you can put the non-sticky edge over this piece right here. Line it up so that it's straight, basically. There we go. See? And it'll go underneath there perfectly. Now, just to finish it off, what I want to do is I have a few of our Glossy Dots. These are in the new annual catalog. And let's put a few of them on here. Let's see, do I want the little ones or the big ones? I think I'm going to use the big ones. I don't use the big dots very often because sometimes they're just a little too big for my taste. So let's use them on this. Okay. Whoops, that one's a little bit off center. Okay, there we go. So we've got the purple one that we did, and then we have the blue one that I did earlier. And there you go. I do want to go back in and add a little more of that black, which I'll probably do later on the body. I do like the way this dog turned out a little bit better. So there we go. Set those aside so we can get going on our next card. What do you guys think? Okay, let me grab my stuff. Okay, looks like Tina's joined us. Welcome, Tina. Hey, Tina, a few weeks ago, you won my weekly drawing, and I need your address so that I can mail the prize out to you. I think I've mailed something to you before, but I can't find your address. So if you will please either send me an email at stamphappenings@gmail.com or send me a message here on Facebook with your address, I can mail your prize out to you. So this next card uses the Bamboo Beauty stamp set. I really like this set, and I haven't played with it a whole lot yet. I just really like the simplicity of it. I've also paired it with watercolor shapes and the Bouquet of Love dies because I used that little frame right there. The Bouquet of Love dies are retiring at the end of June because they're in our January through June mini catalog. They also come with an embossing folder that does some kind of cool stuff. So it's something that you might want to check out before it goes away. Let me show you what we're going to make here for this card. So here is this card using the Bamboo Beauty stamp set. And let me show you how this card works. You don't want to tie this knot super tight because your recipient will need to untie it to open the card. I cut it a little bit short, so I ended up pulling the knot a little tighter than what I intended. But when we make ours together tonight, I will show you how to avoid doing that. So you can see the ribbon feeds under this piece and around the back of the card. And there's the inside of our card. A little bit of a fun fold for you. Okay, so let's get started on this card. Got all our little pieces here. And this ribbon, by the way, is the ribbon that comes in our Abigail Rose suite. It's really cool. It's like it's not really as heavy as tweed. I don't know. It's a linen and it's really soft. It does make a little bit bulkier bows because it is a bigger, wider ribbon, but you can stamp on it and do all sorts of cool things with it. And it is in our annual catalog. So let's do our envelope first. This uses our In Good Fortune, I think it's called, designer series paper that is retiring at the end of the month. So Kathy said she finally ordered some of the Bamboo Beauty stamp set and should be here on Saturday. Oh, good. Yeah, this ribbon is beautiful with it. It looks really, really nice. Okay, so let's put a little glue here on the envelope. And so we've been going to puppy school, and I am happy to say that, you know, I told you that the very first time we went, he was the perfect example of how not to behave. I will say he probably still is the worst behaved dog in the whole class, but he's getting better. Every week he's better than he was the week before. So, and he does really well on the things that we're learning when I go home and teach them to him at home. He does really, really well. He just gets so excited to see all the other dogs, and he just wants to play with them, and he wants to be their best friend, and he kind of goes a little bit bonkers. Okay, let's see here. But he's doing very, very well. He sits and he stays, and I can even like have him sit and tell him stay and go around the corner, and he will stay there until I call him to me. So he's doing pretty darn well. I'm proud of him. Okay, so now this starts with just a half a sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. But instead of scoring it in the middle like I normally do, I scored it 1¼ inches off to the edge here. Either side doesn't matter. So we're going to fold that. Okay. Now we're going to fold the other side around so that it meets up with our fold. And the reason I do this is because if I were to have scored both sides and then fold them in, sometimes if your paper isn't exactly cut right, then your pieces don't line up quite right, and it can be kind of frustrating. So what I do is I score one so that I know that it's the measurement that I need, and then I just line up the other piece to the first piece that I folded. So there's our fold. It's that simple. So now we'll do the inside of the card. And I don't often do multiple layers on the inside, but I did want to give the card a little bit of extra something on the inside because they were such neutral colors that I didn't want to just have brown and white on the inside. So I have a little bit of our soft succulent in here and a little bit of the strip from our In Good Fortune designer series paper. Put a little bit of glue on there. And I'm just lining it up along the bottom, giving myself just a little bit of a white strip beneath the designer series paper. You can have it go all the way to the bottom if you prefer that look. I don't know why I kind of like the little white strip, so that's what I do. Cut off the little bits of extra that we have here. Now let's go ahead and mount this onto the soft succulent piece that I've got. Oh, you know what? I didn't cut super straight here, and that will bother me. Here we go. And now we'll glue this to the inside of our card. And line it up on in the center here. we go. Let me make sure I didn't stamp something on the inside, because you know I always forget that I did that, and then you guys have to remind me. Okay, so now I have a strip of the Soft Succulent and a strip of my Designer Series paper, and another strip of the Soft Succulent and basic white. So let's go ahead and put this one on. A little bit of liquid glue here. There we go. And let's put some on here. Line it up so it's fairly centered. I always say fairly because I know that I don't get it exactly. And if I focus on it being exact, then it'll drive me nutso. Okay, welcome Nancy. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so now let's go ahead and set these pieces aside for now. We'll get our stamping done. And I'm going to use Soft Succulent ink, and I'm using the Soft Suede. And the stamps I'm going to use, I'm using quite a few stamps on this one actually. Gotta find them all. Okay. Whoops. And I have the square from the Watercolor Shapes. I love this stamp set, you guys. You've seen me use it a few times, and I like that it just adds a little bit of texture, something to a plain background. And you can do so much with them because they're so basic. Now what I'm doing is I am stamping off first, just because I found that it stamped a little darker than what I wanted when I just stamped directly onto here. You can see how dark it is right here. And like I said, that was a little darker than what I wanted since I just wanted it as a background. But again, it's totally up to you and what you like. There we go. I'm going to close that up. Now I took the pieces of bamboo. This is two different stamps here, the two tall stalks, and I put them on my block the way I wanted them on my paper, because you might as well just do it in one pass, right? Oh, yes. Marcy said she forgot to put the Watercolor Shapes on her free shipping order. Guess you're just going to have to order them next time. Okay. There's a hair here. Okay, now I want these to be right about here. There we go. Clean them off. And now I've got these ones that are kind of leafy. And I'm putting them at the bottom. There's one there. This one over here. There we go. Okay. Oh, and one more stamp here. I have this little label. Move this out of the way. Now with a small one like this, I would recommend stamp it and then use your die to cut it out. But because I try to save time and get my die cutting done before I go live, then I did this. Okay, now here's my dilemma, you guys. I had the paper backwards. And on the correct side, you've got just this little bit bit of a lip around the edge. It gives it just a little bit of extra texture. But I stamped it perfectly straight. So I'm gonna have to try it again because I do like that little lip there. So it's kind of crooked, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do I go with the slightly crooked, but the little lip that I like around the edge, or do I go with the straight without the lip? What do you vote? I'll set it aside, give everybody a chance to vote and tell me what they think. Now, while you're doing that, okay, Marcy says the straight one. Okay, you know what? It looks like I got a little bit of ink, of the brown ink right there on my paper, and I don't like that. I'm going to show you what I do about that. Especially when it's just a small amount and it's really light like that. I have my sand eraser. I just bought this on Amazon. It's like a couple bucks. And you can go over your paper like this, and it'll just buff it right off of there. It doesn't work so well if it's a really heavy-handed stamped image, or like say I was trying to get rid of that whole branch, that would not work. But when it's a little bit like that, it works. Okay, so now let's go ahead and glue this down. And line this up so that it's mostly centered. Now, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to take our ribbon, set this aside, and we're going to tie our ribbon around the card. I like to do a square knot, just because I like the way square knots lay. Okay, so there's my bow. Now I'm just going to kind of wiggle it over so that my knot is over here on the side the way I want it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my tails, but I'm not going to cut them as short as the other one because you want them to have some extra that makes it easier to tie it again when they open and close their card. So, and you may want to do it a little shorter than that. We'll see how it looks in the end. Okay, now I'm going to put this on the card, but I'm going to use my foam adhesive sheets to lift it up a little bit so that the bulk of that ribbon doesn't make the paper lay funny. So let me grab one of my adhesive sheets. And let's see here. Put a piece right there. Piece along the bottom there. That should be good. And then I just have a little bag, plastic bag that I put my extras in for the next time I need to use some of my foam adhesive. I've already got the smaller pieces there. And I do like these foam adhesive sheets. Yeah, I could also stamp and recut, Marcy. And to be honest, if I was doing this on my own, that's probably what I would do. Looks like most of the votes came in for the straight one. So that's what we will do. Okay, so now I'm just going to lay this down. So see how I left a piece here that didn't have any adhesive? That's where my ribbon is going to go. So I'm just going to lay it down like this. I'm going to line it up. I want it to kind of match this strip over here. There we go. Now I have this guy right here We decided to go with the straight one, which means what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to go over the edges because that little lip is going the wrong direction on this side and it looks kind of funny. So I just flattened it back out. And now I'm going to take where I have just some, these are just the edges from my dimensionals. And I'm going to put this on the back of my little sentiment there. Might be a little too long. Okay, you guys, the dog is cracking me up. He did this last week and he's doing it again. First of all, he has to be between my feet at all times, like literally between my feet. And he gets tired of one toy, so he goes and he gets another one. So at present, I have about 4 dog toys between my feet. 4 dog toys and a dog. Okay. Yeah, when I got done with my live last week, I had this whole stockpile of dog toys under my desk between my feet. It was pretty fun. Okay. Now I'm just going to peel the backs off of this. Remember, the edges of your dimensionals are dimensionals too. They just aren't shaped like the regular dimensionals, so they work for foam adhesive just as well as your dimensionals do. Now I'm going to line this up here. I want it to be centered for the most part. There we go. And I do want to cut these a little bit shorter because they do kind of bug me that long. There we go. And so there you have it. There is card number 2. Just like that. So that's kind of fun with that one. Now, are you guys ready for the last one? Oh, thank you for all the hearts, you guys. Okay, I am super excited about this last card. This one kind of like just sort of came to me one day. I was thinking about it, and it just kind of came to me. And then the more I thought about it, the more I decided I had to do it. So I am using the Blessings of Home stamp set. This set is, it's in the January through June mini catalog, and I'm trying to decide if it made it into the annual catalog or not. Does anybody remember offhand if it made it into the annual catalog? I can look it up really quick if no one knows right off the top of their head. Yes, it did. So it is in the annual catalog. Blessings of Home. Also has the Flowers of Home dies. And if you order it now with the mini catalog that it's in, there is also coordinating designer series paper, but the paper is retiring at the end of the month. So you'll want to get it now before it goes away. Okay, so let me show you what I came up with for this card. This one is also a fun fold. I do like my fun folds. And this does use the designer series paper I was just talking about. This paper, I love it. It's got some sort of a print, floral or like this on one side. And then the other sides are these really soft looking wood grains. And I just really like it. I think it's really pretty. Okay, so here's our card, right? With a little bit of shimmer. Can you see the shimmer there from the Wink of Stella? Okay, are you ready? I'm so excited about this, you guys. Okay, so we take our belly band off and open it up, and there's our card. Oh, but wait. Then you open it up again, and there's the inside of our card. So what do you think of that, you guys? Kind of snazzy, right? So let's go ahead and show you how I made it. Okay, so first I took a piece. I have 2 pieces of design, or I've Night of Navy cardstock. One is cut in half lengthwise, so it's 4 1/4 by 11. One is cut in half widthwise, so it is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. So it does require 2 full sheets of cardstock. Then what I did is on this one that is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, I did score it right here at 2 1/8, okay? And let me show you why. We're going to make this gatefold this way. And then remember I was talking earlier about score one side and then line the other side up so that your edges match up properly. That's what I did here as well. Okay, so there's part of our card base. Oh good, the dog just brought me another toy. Okay, so we've got that part for our card base. Now I've got the other one that is 11 by 4 1/4. Now I will tell you, I trimmed off 1/16 of an inch off of one side here. And the reason for that is if it was the 4 1/4, it would be the exact same measurement as where these folds are, and then this wouldn't fold quite right. So I just trimmed off 1/16 of an inch. That's a teeny, 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 tiny sliver, but it makes everything lay better, okay? Then I scored it at 2 3/4 inches, okay? And I'm gonna do the exact same thing with this one. Line it up. Okay. So now we've got our 2 pieces for our card base, just like that. So let's go ahead and glue that together and get those pieces out of the way. And I am using tear and tape on this because I do want a nice strong adhesive for this. Okay. Now I'm going to line this up. Now be careful when you're doing this because remember, tear and tape is not very forgiving. So once you lay it in here, it's really tough to lift it back up and move it around. You can, if you need to, you can, but it's not easy. So just make sure you've got this lined up where you want it before you really press it into place. Okay. So now I've got all my folds here. 2 going this way, 2 going this way. So let's build from the inside out and let's do the inside of the card. Oops, let's do our envelope really quick. I love this paper. I'm going to really miss this. I think it's so pretty. Specifically this print. I love it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and trim this. I need to get a new pair of snips. These ones, well, these ones need to be cleaned as well. They've got some gunk on them, like glue and stuff like that, which happens. And all you have to do is take rubbing alcohol to clean them off. If you didn't know that, that's the way to clean them. Just get all the gunk off. Okay, so now I've got, this is actually a scrap piece of basic white. I'm going to set it aside for the moment. Here's the inside for our card. And what I chose to do for the stamping on this one, to stamp my images, instead of using black, I wanted something a little bit softer, so I went with basic gray. Basic gray is still a nice dark gray. It's just slightly softer. So for things like this, I like to use the basic gray. And we're going to use this stamp and this stamp. And let's see, for the inside, let's go ahead and stamp all of our pieces right now, just to, then I can put away my ink and not worry about laying down in it. And I just wanted this to kind of be off, going off the corner here a little bit. There we go, just like that. Set it aside, let it dry. And then on my piece here, this is my scrap, I'm going to stamp this one time. Clean off my stamp. And now I'm going to do this one. And stamp it over here. The blocks pick up the light from my camera, and then I can't quite see where my stamp is on the paper to make sure I'm not going off the edge. Okay. This stamp being a little bit bigger does take a little bit more TLC to get it cleaned off. And see, I get the ink all over my fingertips. That's from cleaning it, not even from stamping. Okay. Now, before we do much there, let's go ahead and put some of these pieces together because it'll just make it so we have fewer pieces we're dealing with on the workspace. So I've got these pieces go together, so let's glue them. And by the way, I'm using Flirty Flamingo and the Designer Series paper. And then, of course, this is Night of Navy. And I'm just lining it up right here. Line up this one also. And let's go ahead and glue these down while we're at it. Okay. You can see this card comes together really easily. And it's kind of got a nice little wow effect. But it's easy to do. Okay. Okay, let's glue all these little pieces down now. Whoops. And now I'm just lining these up on the Night of Navy here. Now, the one little thing you want to watch for is make sure that when you do these two sides, try to line this up so that it lines up with the one that you've already put down, just so that it's got a little bit of a smoother flow to it. You're going to do the same thing with these pieces. Make sure that they're lined up with one another. Now, one thing I did find with this card is because there is some bulk on the inside, there is a little bit of an opening showing between these two pieces. And you could avoid that by just cutting your paper differently so that this is about a 1/16 of an inch wider instead of 8 1/2. It could be 8 and 9/16 or something, so that it's just so it meets in the middle. Or you can see once we put the belly band on there, it's mostly covered anyway, so it didn't bother me all that much. Okay. Whoop. Now line these two up. Okay. So now let's do some coloring. And the coloring on this is really quick and easy. I know sometimes people are reluctant to color for a lot of different reasons, but one reason that might hold some people up is that it can take a while. When you want to be really precise and get your color in there and color everything, it can take a while. I'm going to show you how it can happen pretty quickly. So the colors I've chosen here, I have the soft sea foam. I have, there's my other one. I have the Flirty Flamingo, and I have So Saffron. So I'm going to start with my green, and I'm going to do all the leaves. And I'm using the brush tip end, using the light one first, and I'm just kind of, you know, on these little leaves, you kind of do end up filling up the whole leaf. But on some of these bigger ones, I'm just, you know, adding a little bit of color. And now I'm going to do these ones over here. See, I'm not being super precise about it. The one thing I am watching for, though, is making sure I color leaves and not flower petals, because I don't want green flower petals. And give a little bit of color down the stem there. And I do have a little bit of a stem over here too. Now I'm going to go over it with the dark one, just a little bit. Again, on these little leaves, it doesn't show up quite as much. But on the bigger ones, it will. And I'm just scribbling a little bit in there. I'm not putting it in any real specific spot. I'm not doing any particular shape or side, you know, like, oh, you want the light coming from this side. I don't know that kind of stuff. I'm not artistic in that way. So I'm just adding a little bit of dark. There. Then let's go with our yellow, or So Saffron. I've got the light and the dark. Again, I'm using the brush tip. And I'm just kind of scribbling a little bit of the yellow in the centers of the flowers. Now I'm going to do the same with the dark. A little bit over here. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and do the Flirty Flamingo. Again, I'm going to start with my light. I'm just scribble in some color. Oops, I forgot a leaf right there. So we'll color that here in un momento. Looks like there's some green there, some other little leaves that I forgot. So I'm going to fix that really quick while I'm thinking about it. Oops. I forgot it over here on this one too. Okay. Go back to my Flirty Flamingo. Now the thing is, you can always go back and add more. So as you're doing this, if you don't feel like you're doing it, like you're getting enough color, go ahead and just let it ride. See how it goes. And then go back and add more if you want when it's done, because I was really pleasantly surprised when I was done with this one, how much color I had by what I'm doing now when I saw the final result. So okay, now go in with the dark. And I'm just putting just a little tiny splash of color on these. with the dark. Okay. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to color that one at all. So let's add a little bit of the light to that one. Oh, forgot that leaf there. So I'll have to go back and get that leaf. I would rather forget a leaf and have to go back and get it than color a flower green. Because I did that last night too. I got my light. There we go. Now I'm going to get my cutting and embossing machine because we're going to cut those out really quick. But let's go ahead and mount this to the inside of our card. See how those colors, just after they've had a chance to sit, they soak into the paper and they kind of blend and they work really well. And I didn't even do a full detail of coloring. It was just quick little scribbles. So I'm going to line this up on the inside of this guy right here. Let me get my machine, hang on. Shut my door again because my husband is now home and he doesn't want to have to listen to me. I make him listen to me enough as it is. I guess I could give him a little break here. Okay, let's see here. We have plate number 1. I'm going to need to cut these a little bit. Make sure that, you know what, I'm going to cheat, you guys. I'm going to do this on the big one. Just because I think it'll end up being quicker in the long run. So hang on. I know you can't really see much of what I'm doing. Hey, Susie, welcome. Nice to have you join us. Okay, so now I'm going to take my dies here and we're going to cut these out. I'm going to line up the dies where I want them. I am using a magnetic plate that we're actually, unfortunately, pulling back off the shelves because they found it just wasn't holding up to the durability that they thought it would and expected it to. So I'm kind of cheating and using this, but you can always line up your dies and then hold it down with Post-it tape or Post-it notes. Okay, now let's line this one up. This is probably the hardest part of the whole card, is just making sure your dies are lined up properly. All right. Dare we say it's where it needs to be, where they are where they need to be? Okay. Now, what did I just do with that plate? I just had it. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Whoop. Whoops. Sorry about that. Now I'm sorry about the wiggling. Hey, Eric and Talina, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Okay, let me move these out of the way. Okay, sorry about that. You know I like to do my dyeing. I like to do my die cutting before the live because I don't want to have to use a lot of your time watching me do that. But I wanted to be able to color these and show you what I was doing to color them right off the bat. So, okay, now let's reline everything back up here. Okay. Okay, I think we're okay. Now I've got the two flowers that we just cut out, and let's go ahead and take this first one. This is one of our doilies. They come in a pack here, and you get these 3 colors, and these are on sale, last chance sale on my website right now, because they are retiring at the end of the month, and they're really fun to work with. I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not playing with them a little bit more before they retired. So you definitely want to check these out before they're gone. But here I have this one in the blue, and I have the little flower right here. We're going to put a little adhesive on and just stick it right on there. Then we're going to take our card, and we're only going to put adhesive on the top half of our doily, because of course if we put it on the whole thing, now it'll seal the card shut, and you don't want to do that. So I want this to be at a little bit more of an angle. Oh, I hear the dog getting yelled at. He's in trouble. He's probably digging is what he's doing. He loves to dig. Oh, my husband's not wild about him doing that. Okay, so now we have that layer done. Let's go ahead and make our belly band really quick. Uh-oh, I'm missing that piece. Give me a moment. Okay, so I have a strip here. It's just 11 inches long and it's 1 inch wide. That's all I did for my belly band. And I'm going to go ahead and place it around my card, because I do want to make sure that I get the folds where I want them so that it's not too tight on my card, but it's also not too loose on the card. Looks like this is going to work well for me. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my bone folder and press down those edges where the belly band folds. I'm going to take a little bit of tear and tape. Again, this time I'm using my tear and tape on purpose because it is a stronger adhesive, and I don't want my belly band to come apart when it gets, because it'll get slid off and on the card multiple times, and so you want it to be able to endure that. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the card back in there, because again, I can do this sort of lightly to make sure that it's not too tight. Okay, and now take this guy, figure out how you want it on there. What I'm going to do is put some tear and tape on that as well, again, because I want it to be nice and strong. If I can find the edge of my tear and tape. And I'm going to put it right about here. Press it down. I was going to end the video by showing you how big my assistant has gotten, Robin, but since he is outside, I'm not going to be able to do that, so I'll have to do it at the beginning next week. Okay, so now we've got this one all done. Oh, I did make my belly band a little tight there, but that's okay. So now we have that card done. So that's all 3 of our cards tonight, you guys. I hope you enjoyed what we made. Let me move some stuff out of the way, and we'll take a last peek at some of these things. I hope you enjoyed what we did. If you did, please give me some thumbs up, some likes. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love it if you subscribe to my page. If you click on the little bell icon, you'll get notified of upcoming videos whenever I upload one. If you're watching on Facebook, if you subscribe or if you follow my page, then you'll be sure to get the notifications when I post reminders that I'm going live here on Facebook. So that always helps me out when you do those kind of things. It helps tell the Facebook world, hey world, this is something that you may want to watch. Thank you, Paula. So anyway, so here we have, let's move this out of the way. We have card number 1, remember, with our belly band. And it opened several different directions. Ta-da! So card number 1. We also had the Bamboo Beauty card that opened this way with our ribbon going this way on it. And then finally we had our cute little corgi here that opened this way. So some fun folds for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed them. And I hope you guys had a great time tonight. Thanks, Mary. I hope that I see you next week. Remember, on Saturday, I will be doing my monthly Paper Pumpkin alternate ideas video. I hope to see you there, and I definitely hope to see you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.